Hi, this is Jim Lange. This is video 6 of our Roth IRA conversion series, and specifically the advantages of Roth IRA conversions using both the existing law, and then we are going to tie in the benefits of Roth IRA conversions under the proposed death of the stretch IRA. The conclusion, by the way, is that Roth IRA conversions are a great thing for probably most people, and with existing law, they are also still a great thing even under the proposed law, even though it will not be as important. So we talked a little bit about purchasing power, but one of the objections that I get about Roth IRA conversions is, hey Jim, I'm really a little bit too old for that. And yes, I understood that if I live 20 years, based on your old example, that I myself will be better off by $50,000 or even $28,000 after inflation, but I might not even live 20 years. Well, let me tell you, with minor fact changes to preserve confidentiality, but the essence of the story is actually accurate. So I had a client who was literally on his deathbed. Nobody was pretending at this point. We knew he was going to die within the year. All right? There was no question, no pretending. I'm going to oversimplify the facts. He had $1 million in a traditional IRA. Okay? He had $300,000 outside his IRA. So his total estate was $1.3 million. Now this was back in the day when there was $1 million exclusion. So if we did nothing and then he died, his estate would be $1.3 million. He would have $1 million exclusion. He would have had to have paid federal estate tax on $300,000. And he was a smart old engineer, even though he was obviously quite ill. I don't usually do house calls, but in that case I did. And I said, let me go back to the office and let me analyze it and come back with a recommendation. So we ran the numbers. By the way, again, back then we didn't have the technology that we do now. Today we would probably do this on Skype because we like people to see everything that we're doing on the computer. But I will, again, oversimplify the fact. The recommendation was to convert everything. Make $1 million Roth IRA conversion, which basically triggered about a $300,000 tax. So at his death, or actually before his death, instead of having $1.3 million total, he had to write a check to the IRS for $300,000, leaving him $1 million. All right? Well, guess what? Even though the purchasing power that we talked about earlier is the same between $1 million IRA and $300,000 after tax versus a $1 million Roth IRA, in this case a $300,000 tax. So measured in purchasing power, he broke even, but guess what? He lowered his estate tax by $300,000. Now, to be fair, most of us don't have a federal estate tax anymore, but if you're, let's say, in Pennsylvania, where I practice, or in many, many other states that does have some type of either inheritance tax or estate tax or pickup tax or whatever it might be, reducing the estate and maintaining purchasing power actually reduces inheritance tax. But even forgetting that, let's think about what he left for his heirs. He left $1 million in a Roth IRA that's going to grow income tax-free, subject to the minimum required distributions that we talked about earlier of the inherited Roth IRA, and that ended up going to a combination of his children and grandchildren, and his children and grandchildren will literally be millions of dollars better off because he made that deathbed Roth IRA conversion. So the moral of the story is it's never too late to consider Roth IRA conversions, even if you're not going to be the primary person who benefits. And like I had mentioned in an earlier video, it is wonderful to do something that is great for you and great for your estate at the same time, and Roth IRA conversions are one of those areas. So again, I did it myself, And by the way, we have done Roth IRA conversions many times for literally thousands of clients. Unfortunately, I think I have the reputation as, oh, Lange loves Roth IRA conversions. You go to Lange, he's going to try to talk you into a Roth IRA conversion. Not so. What I'm really into is what we call running the numbers, where we make financial projections using reasonable assumptions moving forward, and we compare, let's say, doing no Roth conversion, or doing a big Roth conversion, or doing a series of small Roth IRA conversions. And then we actually add many other variables, but let's just stay with the Roth for the moment. And then we typically recommend what looked the best. And again, you're in the room while we run the numbers. It just so happens that more times than not, when we run the numbers, that Roth IRA conversions make sense. So we recommend them. So it's not because we're so into Roth IRA conversions, we're into running the numbers, and the results of the running the numbers are favorable for the Roth. Now, by the way, and I hate to almost bring this up, and one of the hot topics these days is a fiduciary advisor. It is against the self-interest of the advisor to tell somebody to do a Roth IRA conversion. So let's say, for discussion's sake, that I was managing the money, and we're not this expensive, but let's say that we charge 1%. So the status quo is we're managing $1 million in an IRA, $300,000 outside the IRA. So we're getting a fee on $1.3 million, so our fee is $13,000. Now again, in real life our fee isn't that high, but let's just keep the math simple. Now, if we recommend a Roth IRA conversion, and the client writes a check for $300,000 to the government, we only have $1 million that we're managing left. Yes, it's the same purchasing power, but our fee just went from $13,000 to $10,000. So it is against the self-interest of the advisor to recommend Roth IRA conversions because they will make less. And when I was running around the country doing workshops for Roth IRA conversions for advisors, and frankly I was charging $10,000 a day to do those workshops, I met a lot of resistance because the advisors would say, gee, if I'm doing what you're telling me, instead of making $13,000, I'm only going to make $10,000. How is that good for my business? And of course I wanted to say, hey, we should all be fiduciary advisors. We should all be doing what is in the best interest of our client. Unfortunately, back in those days, that wasn't the case, and that law is in flux as I'm speaking right now, and it might distinguish between retirement dollars and regular dollars, whether you have to be a fiduciary or not. But anyway, even forgetting all that, I would be leery of somebody who says, no, you shouldn't do a Roth IRA conversion unless they literally run the numbers and prove it to you, because it's probably in their best self-interest that you don't do a Roth conversion. Now, to be fair, I'm hoping that the advisors who are saying don't do a Roth IRA conversion actually know what they're doing, or even if they don't, at least they really believe that it's not in your best interest. That would be my hope. But of course our approach is we're going to run the numbers, come up with the best advice that we know how, and whether our fee is on the higher amount or the lower amount, we're going to be happy knowing that we gave you the right advice. Anyway, I hope that our last two stories of Roth IRA conversions, the first one being that I was willing to put my money where my mouth was, and we did a significant Roth IRA conversion, and it is never too late to do a Roth IRA conversion, and did this story with the deathbed Roth IRA conversion. Anyway, we will be talking about the Roth IRA conversion in the light of the death of the stretch IRA in future videos. I hope this and the entire series has been helpful for you, and thank you for your attention.